At the very beginning, we are shown the company building in which the conversation is taking place right now. Inside the building is the one who is being told off at 6 a.m. on Monday, and his boss who needs answers. We are shown the appearance of the boss himself, and apparently she is very dissatisfied with the work of her employee. Then we are shown the main character named Kan Himchan, and he is the main programmer. The girl tells him that he did his job incorrectly, and the guy just didn't understand what was required of him. Meanwhile, our main character remembers that they like to call him a bug slave and just as helpless. The evil boss tells the Kimki resident to fix everything today, no matter what, because the work is very important. Then it begins to seem to the manager that the guy is not looking into her eyes, after which he says that he will fix everything. After this, the girl says that it would be great if his skills were at least half as good as his voice was loud. Now we see how Kimki sat down at his computer to correct mistakes, and sometimes he laughs bitterly at the dullness of life. Sitting at his computer, the guy realizes that he can't find his report and makes every effort to urgently try to find it. Meanwhile, it just seems to him that absolutely every day passes for him like Groundhog Day, and as if nothing changes. Kimki resident wants to become a landowner because he is sure that then he could enjoy his life. The guy remembers what they say on the internet that it's very easy to do, but he's not good at it. The poor guy remembers all the luxury that everything surrounds other people. He believes that everyone around him is rich except him. Looking at various happy photos on Instagram, our main character always felt only irritation, fatigue, envy. It seems to him that he is the only one who remains in place and wastes his years, but we all know very well that he is not the only one. Then we see how the guy continues to sit on his phone and look through various photos on the internet. In front of him is a girl who is right now taking off her original AirPods, which she, of course, earned with her own labor. And suddenly a realization came to the Himchan, and after that he decided to buy a lottery ticket from this girl. The girl says that they only have a quick lottery, and the guy thinks that these are the same tickets that need to be erased with a coin. Then the seller turns around to find what the main character so badly needs, after which lovely views open up for the Kimchan resident. While the seller is looking for the goods, the guy turns away and realizes that he often needs to look into this place to buy lottery tickets. Kimchan tells the girl that he hasn't seen instant lotteries for a very long time. In response, she says that he won't regret it. She makes it clear to the guy that no one has ever regretted their purchase from her store, so he won't either. After some time of searching, the girl found the required lottery ticket and began handing it to this programmer. After he handed the ticket to this guy, she decided to check with him whether he was going to buy it or not. In turn, Kimki residents continue to look at this ticket and consider this seller very strange, and apparently have doubts about the purchase. The girl is already tired of holding this ticket in her outstretched hand, which is why she reminds the Kimki resident that there is no need to doubt. After all this, the guy still bought a ticket and he could not have expected that his life would change so much. We see a Kimki resident around whom his colleagues have gathered. They have just seen how he won, and they are interested in who he will use the winnings on. Having decided to study this strange lottery ticket more closely, the main character realized that this was a ticket for a quick test drive of a Cybertruck. In turn, colleagues having also studied this ticket are already advising the guy with whom he should share this winnings, and everyone has a different opinion. It turned out that this is some kind of routine that Himchan didn't even know about. It still seems to him that this doesn't exist, and they just agreed. Colleagues in response begin to think that this guy is already starting to go crazy because of his joy, and apparently he has realized with whom he will share his prize. Then the main character begins to worry greatly. He does not understand what is happening now because he has never heard of such a ticket in his life. After some time, their boss, Kimki, approached these guys, turned his attention to her and realized that now he was in trouble. The disgruntled boss reminds these guys that lunch is long over, and she doesn't understand why there is so much noise here. She decides to clarify with the Himchan why he is standing here instead of continuing his work. It is clear that the guy is confused and does not know what to answer her. The manager is already beginning to suspect something. She understands that Kimki is hiding something, and thinks that the main character was just watching movies for big boys. The very embarrassed guy decides to tell her that right now he won something, but he's not sure about it and the girl wants to see it. Of course, our main character no longer had a choice, and he decided to give his lottery ticket into the hands of the evil leader. Right now, the Kimki resident is looking at the not-so-satisfied look of his leader while she examines this ticket, while he understands that he is finished. The evil manager decided to tear up this ticket and believes that the guy has a lot of free time for all this nonsense. Now, she wants him to submit his resignation. Meanwhile, the poor main character continues to endure all these screams from her. He believes that he was destined to quit in this way. It turned out that all this turned out to be just a bad fantasy of a Kimki resident, and right now, unexpectedly for himself, This guy hears congratulations from the manager. She returns the ticket and asks the guy not to use it on his colleagues because she definitely doesn't want to see something like that at her workplace. Then the black-haired girl comes up to Him-chan and begins to congratulate him on this thing. She says that she is very jealous of the guy because she herself would use him on idols because she loves Jungkook very much. Kimki residents do not understand what is happening next. The girl, noticing the manager's dissatisfied look, asks her for forgiveness and says that she is really jealous. Our main character still doesn't understand anything. It all seems very strange to him, which is why he decided to go and relax because he needs to calm down. Drinking a glass of fresh beer, he feels as if he has entered some strange world with just one lottery ticket, but he should remain calm. At least the Himchan right now does not see all sorts of windows of elves, goblins, and other characters in front of him, which means he is not now moved to another world. A moment later, we are suddenly shown some girl talking to some guy. She assures him that she didn't drink and will wait until he arrives. Having decided to look at this strange lottery ticket again, the guy realizes that everything around is too bright and real for an ordinary dream, and in the end, it's just strangeness. It seems like nothing like that, but this ticket goes beyond all bounds of decency. Everything is written correctly, and he finds out that he can arrange a test drive with someone. Then the residents of Kimki begin to smile. He hopes that he will not be thrown into some magical world where they will be together with the person he chooses. Suddenly, for our main character in this bar right now, someone saw him and was able to recognize him, and then decided to address him by his name. It turned out that this is some girl who decided to approach our main character and does not understand what he is staring at right now. The confused main character then decides to put his hands in his pocket and tries to justify himself to her. Seeing this picture, the girl understands that he has not changed. It becomes clear to us that her name is Park Yoonbin. They have not seen each other for a long time, and she is the longest non-reciprocal love and his classmate. He remembers that with her innocent charm, she quickly became the first love for many. And our main character is very worried because they met after so many years. Kim-chan reminds her that they haven't seen each other for 3 whole years. She confirmed this and says that the last time she saw him was when he was just about to start working. Then the smile on Park Yoonbin's face gave way to sudden dissatisfaction. She wondered what was going on in the guy's life because he didn't even answer her calls. Of course, the main character didn't quite like this question because he was confused again and was trying to come up with an excuse, but the girl suddenly stopped him. The girl tells him that first he needs to do something with her. This interested Him-chan, and Park Yoonbin says that this is like fate for enthusiasts like her. It turned out that this girl right now just decided to take a selfie as a souvenir with the Kimki resident, and judging by his facial expression, he is not against it. After the first selfie, she realized that the photo came out just fine, which is why she wants to do it again, but at the same time the guy is suffocating because of the cannonballs. Then the girl used a filter that made cats out of them, and said that she would post it on Instagram and tag everyone as a classmate to surprise them all. After some time, this stupid girl already begins to think that the guy is starting to cross all possible boundaries, but Kimki residents understand that it was she who started it. Now she starts shaking her phone and smiling, after which she says that, as expected, Him-chan is really easy to control, and she advises you to ignore her. Our main character makes it clear that everything is clear, and advises this girl to place her order, after which she ordered 2 bottles of soju. They decided to discuss their affairs at work. Him-chan has problems with his department head, and Park Yoonbin tells him that all women hate him. However, the guy didn't like such words from her. He lost his temper and said that it was all untrue, after which the girl noticed that he thinks very positively. After these screams, the Kimki residents decided to calm down because they remembered that right now, he had beer left in his mug, which he started drinking right now. Then the girl, looking pleased, decides to pour herself some alcohol from the bottle, but she only wants a little. Kimki residents remember how she said that it was easy to control. Of course, the guy still holds a grudge against her for these words, and he understands that very soon he will be able to take revenge on her for these not the best words addressed to him. Right now, we are watching the events that are happening right in the head of the main character, and apparently, in his thoughts, he took advantage of a lucky lottery ticket. Park Yoonbin asks the main character various questions which he successfully tries to answer. After that, Park Yoonbin wants to clarify with him whether he really wants to offer to test drive the Cybertruck or not. After her question, the guy decided to show all his self-confidence and said that he really wanted to do this test drive, and he had no doubts. After these words, the Cybertruck drove into the garage, and Park Yoonbin says that she really likes everything now. After a few seconds, our main character makes it clear that his patience is already beginning to come to an end, and it will soon burst. After these words, his patience really snapped, and of course Park Yoonbin was able to realize this. Now we are watching the events that continue to happen in this bar. The guy understands that if everything goes according to his plan, they might even start dating. The guy is trying to gain strength to give her this ticket and make his old dream come true. But at that moment, Park Yoon-bin suddenly turned to him. A girl with a very unusual face tells Him-chan that she wants to tell him something with these words. She is very interested in the guy. Now we are again watching our loser, who is sitting in his office right now, and apparently he woke up and realized that this happened, as always, at the wrong time. The head of the department decided to approach him, and, seeing his condition, she didn't think that a report written by a drunk person would be good, so it was better for him to go home. Kimki residents begin to ask forgiveness from the manager because he is really not in the best condition right now and promises to finish his report at home. The girl is already fed up with everything and says that she does not have such powers, so she figuratively asks him to quit, asking him to write in his own way. The sad guy is already getting ready to go home, and the girl decides to speak honestly in front of him and says that she always hoped that he would fail the interview. Of course, the main character didn't like these words, but he became interested in why she wanted it so much, so he stopped and asked her. She asks him to look at himself because everyone will say that he has no plans for the future and is irresponsible and cannot even adapt to his job. The guy sees that she really hates him and says that he raises this topic after much thought and doubt, after which he says that this is the best outcome for both of them. Kim-chan understands that she approached him only because of the first impression and says that even if she is dissatisfied with him, he cannot quit, and she is perplexed. The main character realizes that he has nothing to lose, so he musters up the courage to tell his manager that she is the one to leave her place of work. The Kimki resident still understands that he can no longer restrain himself, which is why he reached into the inner pocket of his jacket to use the lottery ticket. The serious main character still took this very ticket out of his pocket and tells his department head to start getting rid of the extra rags. Seeing this card, the girl was very embarrassed, and the guy made it clear that he would conduct a test drive with the person who definitely wouldn't like it. Our main character, already angry, begins to rush this girl and reminds her that she needs to get rid of the extra rags as soon as possible. In turn, the head of the department is now completely perplexed and embarrassed. She does not understand how she should act in this situation. She kept thinking about this ticket and realized that it was the same ticket that the guy had previously shown her at work. She understands that he wants to use it now. At the same moment, Kimki residents began to get a little worried. He looked at this ticket and began to doubt whether it worked at all or whether it was all a fake. And then the main character decides to remember the moment when the head of the department asked him not to use this thing on his colleagues because he didn't want to see it. Him-chan believes that she couldn't make such a low joke on him. That's why it should work, so that this guy is going to achieve his goal. Our main character plucked up courage and decided to tell the girl directly what he exactly wants, so now she looks at him with great disgust. Having picked up this lottery ticket, our main character tries to talk to him and makes him understand that he is going to use it on an executive named Lee Kim-hyun. The guy began to worry a lot. Apparently, he had already lost all hope that this would work, after which he noticed how Kim-hyun began to get rid of excess rags. Then the manager noticed that this guy was just standing still and not doing anything. She didn't like it, so she told him to start doing the same. The girl thinks that she has to teach this newcomer everything, but Kimki residents, in turn, cannot believe that this very strange ticket actually worked. After that, the manager makes it clear that she is ready to test drive the Cybertruck and asks the Kimki resident to hurry up because it is too long. The guy heard what she was telling him and just started looking at her silently. Apparently, he didn't expect her to become so impudent. Him-chan decided to prove himself as a real Sigma so that this woman would know her place, and judging by her facial expression, she did not expect such actions from him. After settling his actions, the main character asks Lee Kim-hyun to take his place because right now, he is going to take everything into his own hands like a real man. The guy is going to give orders now because he is not at work right now, so he makes it clear that he wants to try something now. As a result, the loser Him-chan realized that he was not yet old enough to be independent, so he asked this aunt to take care of him. However, before this, Kimki decides to check with her whether she knows what she needs to do and how she will need to act in the future. Lee Kim-hyun is well aware that she will have to take the initiative into her own hands, but despite this, she expected that her father would be able to do at least something on his own. After some time, she wants to clarify with the main character whether she really needs to do this, because they are just wasting time, and she wants this to end as soon as possible. However, the Giga-chad in the person of the Kimki resident says that he will have to decide this, and besides, he noticed that the leader is all red with embarrassment. The guy understands that this job is now even better than he imagined, and the girl in turn wants to see the volcanic eruption as soon as possible. Meanwhile, our main character suddenly decided to pay attention to the cannonballs, and judging by his facial expression and general reaction to it, he liked them. And here the Kimki resident begins to believe that all this time he could not concentrate on his work only because of it, and not because of his laziness and procrastination. The guy asks her to continue sharpening the sword, but she says that she stopped doing it because she was already very tired and wanted to take a break. Our main character really likes what he is doing now. Besides, next to him there is a boss who is considered a real elite. Suddenly the guy realizes that this can no longer continue, which is why he gets to his feet and talks about it, and Lee Kim-hyun doesn't understand what he's going to do. Then the guy makes it clear that the Cybertruck will drive into the garage very soon, and there is no way to avoid this. The head of the department listened carefully to our guy's words, after which she told him to do whatever he wanted because she didn't care at all. Right now, this girl realized that Him-chan is still an ordinary beginner, so she asks him to show him everything he is capable of. Of course, this guy is very unpleasant to hear these words from the boss. It seems to him that she is deliberately starting to anger him, which is why he will take emergency measures. Suddenly, someone decided to call this manager directly on the phone. The guy understood this and understands that it happened just in time. Kimki resident is already tired of listening to K-pop, which is the ringtone of this girl. That's why he took the phone. He wants her to answer the call as soon as possible, because this is important. Our main character, without waiting for an answer from her, decided to answer the call himself and hand the phone to her, after which the voice from the other side said hello. The guy remembers that the head of the department said that he was a real loser and couldn't do anything. That is why he answered the girl's call out of spite and now wants her to start talking to this man right now, despite the fact that now is not the time for this. However, after plucking up the courage, the girl decided to talk to that man and wants to find out what he wants from her at such a late time. Then Lee Kim-hyun learns from that person about a certain account statement, and it is from their department, and perhaps this is something not good. The guy suddenly became bored and decided to interfere with their conversation, but at the same time he pretends that he is not here. The girl tells the man that she has already sent him today. She says that everything is attached in the file, and this person should check it and contact her before tomorrow, because now she is really busy. After some time, this girl's telephone conversation came to an end, and she made it clear that she was going to hang up, and for some reason she felt a tingling sensation in her stomach. Meanwhile, the manager understands perfectly well that if everything continues this way, she will not be able to keep her face in serious tones. Then our main character was already angry with her and decided to hit this girl so that she would behave well. But she does not understand why exactly she received this blow. For some reason, it came as a real shock to the Him-chan that Lee Kim-hyun somehow reacted to this unusual blow. Lee Kim-hyun says that she was just surprised by such a sharp turn of events, but the guy begins to think that this is not so at all. After some time, the head of the department realizes that she really shouldn't raise her head, otherwise this guy will be able to see her frivolous face. She thinks that she needs to hold out a little longer to say that the guy did a very terrible job with this test drive, because this is her old dream. Suddenly she realizes that she really likes all this very much, and she is already at the limit and cannot hide her emotions. She begins to say all sorts of strange words that are completely out of character for her, and apparently she herself did not expect that Takeo would be able to say. Suddenly a real realization came to her. She realized that she was talking real nonsense, after which she blushed all over with shame and decided to suddenly stop. However, it was already very late, and the Kimki resident heard absolutely everything that she told him. He himself did not expect to hear such things from her, and wants to clarify whether all these words are true. Him-chan remembers perfectly the words that this girl said, but he still wants to hear her repeat these words to him again. The girl is very embarrassed and says that this is not what she meant at all, and that supposedly our main character completely misunderstood her. She looks very confused and doesn't even know what to say, so she wants to finish her business and finally go home. At this moment, our main character, with great regret, realizes that the atmosphere between them has suddenly cooled down, and this, of course, is bad. Meanwhile, the girl begins to believe that she used to be a very ideal girl, but it seems to her that Kimki residents will still misunderstand her. Then the guy begins to ask this embarrassed girl to empty her hands because he cannot see her beautiful face, although he really wants to. Nevertheless, she decided to agree to fulfill this guy's request, after which she said that she would put her hands down for only 10 seconds and later return them back. Then she started counting down starting from 10, at which time Kimki residents enjoy her beauty and think that this countdown is real absurd and she is behaving like a child. After some time, Kimki residents once again turn to this girl with a very unusual request. She agreed to it and cannot understand why exactly. Lee Kim-hyun understands perfectly well that she needs to restrain her real emotions, but no matter how hard she tries, she just can't do it, so apparently the guy will find out everything. Further, our main character makes it clear that soon his patience will run out because he is already really tired. Just a moment later, the volcano erupted and the young man immediately realized it. After that, the girl again decided to use rags, after which she turns to our main character and turns to him because she wants to say something. It becomes clear that the girl just wanted to clarify whether he would just sit here so easily, but the guy doesn't understand what exactly she wants from him. After her question, the main character became a little embarrassed and asks her forgiveness for this because he accidentally stared at something very beautiful and did not hear anything. In this case, the Kimki resident is going to be the first to leave this office because he realizes that he no longer needs to be here and should go home to rest. Le Kim Hyun understood what Him-chan was already going to do, so she didn't waste extra time on telling him something and simply said that she understood him. After some time, the course of events is transferred to the bus on which the Kimki resident is sitting and tries to seem mysterious. He remembers everything that happened to him recently. It's already beginning to seem to him that he will definitely never see something like this again in his life, and of course he regrets it because of this. Suddenly, the main character turned his attention to some store that was nearby. He looks at it carefully and tries to remember something. He immediately got off his bus and realized that he had almost forgotten one very important thing. It practically flew out of his head. Kimki resident considers himself a real genius and already thinks that he really can easily buy another ticket and is already turning to the employee of this metro station. He made it clear that he wants to buy another ticket, but this man says that they don't have similar tickets and he doesn't understand what the guy is talking about. His words really surprised this guy because he bought them right here. He makes it clear to the man that he bought these tickets from a girl with blue hair, but the man says that he works alone. The employee's words still cause the Kimki resident only bewilderment. This guy is already starting to feel as if this never happened, but he still decides to try to find that girl. Now we can watch how this guy approached someone and decided to show this very ticket, but that person sees this thing for the first time in his life. It turned out that he showed this ticket to an ordinary girl, and she, seeing this thing, wants to check with the guy whether he made it himself, because it looks very neat. Then the employee decided to intervene in their conversation. It seems strange that the main character seriously hopes that he can find a girl with this ticket. After some time, the events had already moved to another place. Kimki showed the man his ticket, and he delighted the guy by saying that he had seen these somewhere. The main character finally had hope that he would be able to buy more tickets, and he wanted to find out more information. But the employee says that he will look for them. Then the man decided to show the guy different ticket options, but the guy makes it clear that there is something really wrong with this. Kimki resident is right now looking through various ticket options, but he is well aware that none of them are similar to the one he needs now. Realizing that it would be useless to stay here any longer, our main character simply began to feel sad, after which he thanked this employee for trying to help. Then the Kimki resident thought about just buying a lottery ticket, but the seller makes him understand that it's stupid for someone like him to say something like that, so it's better to leave. Now we are again watching the Kimki resident who, right now, being all alone, is sitting on a bench and is sad, thinking that now he is really just sleeping. However, he cannot understand at what exact moment he fell into this strange dream, immediately after he bought the ticket or after meeting Park Yoonbin. The guy thinks about what will happen when he wakes up and realizes that it was all a dream, after which suddenly someone turns to him thinking that Kimki residents feel uncertainty. It turned out that it was the same girl with blue hair who, approaching the main character, tells him that it was not a dream, thereby greatly surprising him. This girl does not want to miss a great opportunity to earn some more money for herself, and then, with a sly look, asks the guy if he wants to buy another ticket. After her question, she immediately took this very ticket into her hand so that the Kimki resident could look at it himself and make sure that it was indeed real. Suddenly, the puzzled protagonist, in turn, begins to point at this girl with his index finger, after which he seems to be trying to tell her something very important. Continuing to point his finger at her, it turned out that he just wanted to call her a fraud, and now the girl is at a loss. She just can't understand why Kimki decided to call her a fraudster, because the same ticket that she sold him earlier worked, and he knows it himself. The main character says that the previous girl looked completely different, and the one who approached him right now is very different from her. The blue-haired girl realizes what this guy was doing now and what the problem is, after which she gets rid of the umbrella and thanks the guy for the compliment. Realizing that he was mistaken, Kimki said that it doesn't matter anymore, after which he tries to remember where he stopped. He already believes that this girl is a witch or a ghost. This blue-haired girl says that life is really a difficult thing, and she reminds him that that same lottery ticket worked and he liked it.